you feel for everybody involved. Obviously Kobe and Gigi and everybody else that was on board. I mean, when you first hear about it, it's you grow up. I grew up with Kobe being one of, if not my favorite players. So you automatically assume that can't happen to somebody like that. You believe that Kobe is invincible. So you hear it and it's confusing, it's disbelief, it's frustration, and then that turns into tears. And then today it's just like numbness. It's still in disbelief. And I was able and fortunate to spend a lot of time with him and his family, and he's just so much more than a basketball player to so many. He transcended the sport, he transcended the game, and he's an icon. I mean, he brought the game to where it is today. And for people that grew up with Jordan, he was the next phase. He was 2.0, and it breaks all of our hearts, whether it's myself, who got to know him firsthand and become a friend of his and share the court with him, in All-Star games and the 2012 Olympics, and just see him not only as a basketball player but as a father as well, and as a guy that was likely going to do more, and that's saying a lot, in his second act. And that was part of being a father, an entrepreneur, and somebody who, like I said, transcended the game of basketball. Kobe's one of those guys that anything he touches seemingly turned to gold, and somebody that could affect the masses outside of basketball. Anybody he touched, anybody whose path he crossed or you crossed his path, you were touched by Kobe Bryant's life and the Bryant family. So you have to, you just pray for the other family that was involved. I don't know them, so I can't really speak to that. But, as far as Vanessa and the other kids, you just have to pray for them and know that this is an incredibly hard time. So like I said, it's yesterday you couldn't really put much into words. Didn't speak much. Shared a tear and shared tears with a number of people. Spoke to a couple of loved ones, hugged a bunch of these guys, because life is fast fleeting. It could be taken away from you so fast, and I really believe that nothing haunts us like the things we don't say. I say that all the time when it comes to mental health, but words left unspoken can haunt you forever, and you'll take that into eternity. So you just have to whatever or petty stuff that's going on in your life, I would just tell you to reach out to that next person, to continue to pay it forward, and just know that an invincible guy like Kobe Bryant and Gigi, who we're all excited to see play in the WNBA and be that next phase of Kobe and that next phase of Mamba, they're not here anymore. They could be taken away from you so fast. So this is one of those moments that probably definitely the biggest sports tragedy in my 31 years that I've heard of or seen or been around and had a close personal connection to. But Kobe is a legend. He's gonna live forever. He's an icon, and he was so much bigger than the game. I mean, I have so many stories. Obviously it's a longer conversation, but because I was with him for a good amount of time, more than most. Didn't play with him in the NBA at that capacity like Larry did, or like Jordan did, or a lot of guys that I knew still know. But yeah, that Mamba mentality, that relentlessness. I mean, if you watch Muse, I remember having a conversation with him, how inspiring it was to watch that documentary, and just how he transitioned into 8 into 24. And I remember just talking to him about that at length, and I'm just, it still gives me chills to this day. So, that's something I'll probably reflect on and watch again this week, because it was so powerful. He like I said, he transcended basketball. He won an Oscar for a short film. He just, there's so many stories that I could tell from either the Olympic experience, playing against him, the All-Star games, being with him at different meetings throughout the summer, being with him at the ESPYs. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But, I'm still going to be I guess on a lighter note, looking at those those trash bins, and at home or at work in the locker room, and throwing either the sock or that piece of paper in the trash can and calling out Kobe. So he's one of the all-time legends, and the all-time Lakers. Just incredibly devastating and sad. I got to watch. I forget the year it was, but it was one of their championship years, and my friend was blessed and fortunate to have Laker tickets or Blazer tickets where he sat. He had 2 courtside seats, so I was begging and pleading for years and years to go and see Shaq and go and see Kobe. Those teams where they had the three-peat. I can remember Ruben Patterson. They used to say he was the Kobe stopper when Blazers had those great teams as well, where they went to the Western Conference Finals. And I remember they clinched the division and also the Western Conference on a night where Kobe had sent the game into overtime, literally right next to us, and then he had pump fake and kind of hit a lean-in 3 to actually seal the game in overtime. So that was one. I mean, you can pull that up. It's one of his unbelievable moments in his illustrious career. But I remember literally sitting there. We were walking out. We said, okay, we got to wait to see if Kobe's going to hit this shot, which he did. And then we stayed throughout overtime. He clinched the division. They won the Western Conference outright, and in the regular season, and that was a special moment, at least for me as a kid. But he was a guy that, listen, if you grow up in the era of watching Kobe, you idolized him. I don't care, who you were. He had a massive impact on your game and on your life. So, it was just, I don't know. It's tough to. I've been pretty long-winded, but yesterday I had no words. But I think he impacted all of us, from a micro level, but for me in a very, very big way.